Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. How goes it? Um, for today's fun and games, we will be trying to get some planning done. Okay, so we're a bit into March now, and this would be my fifth sprint that I've officially started doing sprints, which I think it says like the beginning of just like the about this time in January. So almost exactly 2 months ago, I started doing sprints, and so you can kind of see what's been getting accomplished. Got a decent list on a couple. The authentication took a bit of time, but over a while, we've been slowly starting to get some of the front end items in place. The GitHub uh, continuous integration and delivery, some game plan items. This last one had some pretty good progress on the play editor. So now in this sprint, my goal is to start getting some uh, simulator stuff kind of going, the game simulator logic. So we got save and load of the game state, which will be good. I want to be able to call the coach component, which is definitely on the docket. Some of these don't have a lot of definition for them set up yet, so that's going to be kind of a thing. So we're going to be kind of trying to break into that. You can see that I have, if I were to focus simply on this, I have the coach AI component, which is basically a service. It's just a coach service that's going to be reading the simulator. I've already kind of started a little bit of work on that. The simulator is gonna pass information back, not the simulator, the situations of the game plan, trying to find what play should it be calling. Essentially, is what's going to be happening. It's going to read the information that comes from the game plan. Player AI is not going to happen in this one. That's a little bit down the road. Play execution component will be part of this. I hope I could start getting the play calls in there. I'm going to start tying them together. And additionally, I have the actual game simulation UI. Not the UI. These are UI parts, but so I won't be doing the Android part. Probably won't be doing a lot of the React UI parts. I'd like to be able to plug it in to my current React UI, but that's going to be a pretty major feat because I'm taking all the simulation logic that's in React right now, and I'm going to pull it out, and I'm just going to be passing back game state and having it load up from that. But I'm also building the service and the run play logic to be a little bit more player execution ready. So I got to build in other parts, other pieces that may not get used in the immediate, but in time, or hopefully, in time, I'll be able to start plugging in player stats. So there's a fair amount of that going on. Right now, I just want to build it so that it at least works down to the play level. So that's a play type. Game simulation UI, it's kind of a misnomer because it's the Android UI and the React UI, so they're the same thing. But I might actually even create those into their own epic because it's a pretty big deal to set that up. I've broken some of these epic items up into parts that don't, like here's a sim UI for Android. So and web, which is weird because I have the Android, it's on Android UI. This is the sim UI. This should probably be down here in the web because that's where that is. So there's a fair amount of things like, and then this is kind of the same. So yeah, there's some carryover. I probably don't have the organization down. It's mostly just been throwing ideas down and then I'm trying to group them up as best I can. Game plan still got a number of things that aren't quite working as I want them to, but it's pretty solid. It's building game plans. Thing is, I don't have the defensive end of anything done. I've really only completed some offensive stuff. So I need to start looking into how the defensive stuff's going to work, and the special team stuff. So special teams is kind of its own bunch of logic. It's going to create its own game plan. It's still got to put the stuff into the same game plan container, but it's going to be laid out slightly different on how that works. So this is where I'll be using the Mongo database, the NoSQL type of setup, because all of my game plan situations will go into the Mongo database, but NoSQL allows me to have like different fields, which I will have to have because they don't, it's going to be a document. I don't know, the offensive and defensive situations or on special team situations may be slightly different. The special teams one definitely be different. It's not even going to be the same kind of layout. So there's a lot involved there. But really what I want right now is just to continue forward on the offensive side of the ball. And then maybe I'll start moving into the defensive side of the ball. And then I can start looking at the special team stuff. So what I want to do in this next sprint, primarily, let's kind of just pick up the pieces. The save and load game state, we will add that to the sprint. Let's see, we want to also have, coach component, play execution, load play. I want to add a task specific for create feature run game component function. Run game function. These should all be features, but I don't know. I kind of keep going down the. Oh, these are all. I see. Never mind. This is supposed to be a PBI. These are all PBIs. Under the standard agile logic, they are PBIs. So we have the run game function. Coaching profile. This is actually now coaching profile's additive. It's going to be part of the end game stuff. I'll start building in a lot of stuff that starts functioning and affecting stats in a way. But right now, the coaching profile is not quite, it's not a thing that's high on the priority list, at least not in the immediate future. So we got pay feature, game mode, franchise, career, single season, practice squad. That's probably more of an, I want to call it an epic. What would I call that? Do I have a player one scrimmaging, game time interaction, setup, players? How about roster, create service? See, coaching profile, coach. Let's move this one down to the oops. Wait. Rostered. Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. I see. It's not really a coaching profile. Can I move this up to a higher level like this? Turn into a feature? Nope. guess I might have been asking a bit much for that, I suppose. All right. Where did that go then? All right. Let's create a new feature here, or a new folder. Oh, is that a list? All right. Feature coaching profile. So it's basically that little area above the game plan. That's the profile, and there's going to be a lot of bits and parts that are attached to that. But so we got roster status, create service. injury status, practice squad availability, update simulation to account for coaching. Yeah, there's a lot of these things are going to be kind of later. It's the gamification of a lot of what I'm doing. So we're going to have the but right now I'm still working on getting the simulation up through the play functioning. But my goal is to get, obviously the entire underlying, but I'm trying to also give myself enough parts that I can start interacting some UI bits that actually play, but also have some player interaction stuff where you can go in, where I can change game plans, or a user could go in and change game plans and have an effect on the simulation. That's what I'm working on now, to kind of have a little bit of, the gamifying of this thing. Game plans, I have the game situations, which I don't think have. See, there's special teams, and then I should probably add defense, because I don't think I have a defensive item on here. Game situations, but some of these are actually quite big. Coin toss decision, timeout. Oh, these are all the things that need to be on the. So we need to add another item to this list. All right, we'll just go scoping. We'll call this one PBI defense. Defense. Game plan. Actually, part of this too, I need to add like a default or a what do you call it? PBI create add default or master game plan. Now this one is the fallback game plan. This will be a game plan created and referenced as the default when the user game plan situations do not cover this will be a game plan created and referenced as the default when the user game plan situations do not cover the current situation. This will be meant to be very generic. Taking the most common, obvious play choices for the given situation. So my thought is there will be AI game plans, and then there will be default game plans. You do not want the default game plan. You want to tweak your default game plan. It might be the most conservative of game plans. Rarely only goes for two to tie after touchdown. Always punts or field goal. Always punts or field goal on fourth. field goals at no more than 40 yards. Fourth down, exception attempt at 2 minutes. Oh, I should learn how to spell exception. Jeez, what the heck, man. So very basic. Okay, so we got that. That's the objective. Very simple simulation. Now I will create ones that are a little bit more robust. Maybe one that leans towards passing, one that leans towards running, one that takes a lot of chances. You know, that kind of thing. Just have some kind of UIs, AIs that'll do different things based on my own personal opinion of how that kind of stuff should go down. Or if I decide to assign, now what I do with coaches, the coaches are not going to have entire game plans of their own, but what they'll have are tendencies. And their tendencies, like one might be, you know, a passing coach or a defensive coach or a, I don't know, they'll have different things that will have an effect on the play. Now they may have tendencies, but they may have other skills and talents that make them, you know, good go-tos for your team. And they could have different types of effects on your team morale, you know, synergies, skill building, that kind of thing. I have not decided yet if I'm going to have assistant coaches. I know there's a lot of these games have offensive and defensive coaches. And I'm still trying to decide if those are going to be in there. Because then you're like, well, where do you stop? Do you get a QB coach? Do you get an offensive coach? Do you get a special teams coach? Do you have line coaches? Do you have, you know, there's coaches for every kind of thing. There's personal trainers, which there will probably be in my game of personal trainers. I feel like those guys help with their fitness guys. You have guys that target different aspects of players, but do we really need to get into that level of detail? Is it going to matter that much? Everything's going to have an effect on the game. I've decided if I'm putting it in the game, it's going to have an effect. So the question is, how much of an effect does it really drive? What does it drive that helps your players excel? And it's kind of a thing I haven't figured out, because all right, so I've got logic ready, built formulas, but now once I start taking into these extra levels of detail, what I'm planning to do is they're just going to affect those formulas. They're going to affect the stats. So even though everybody's based on true to life NFL stats, essentially a lot of what those stats are made up of is a bunch of other skills and formulas, and they come out to their base stats. And then those stats are built and enhanced by whatever other little features I put into the game. How much can they improve? What are they going to improve at? You know, there's only... I don't want everything to have an effect on everything, but you've got to have a fair amount of split range. So, you know, maybe everything's made up of of particular skills or abilities at a percentage, and then, you know, you can cap out. You can only get so agile, or you can only work so much at the physical fitness side of things. That'll give you some boost, but your guy might max out at that. Then they have to go actually learn skills or something else to improve their stats. I don't know. But that's kind of the goal. Kind of have all that stuff built in. So anyway, that's one of the things I need to have. Let's go and close this. So that's my base plan. I have a defensive stats. Ariano! Again? They win a lot. They win. It seems like they win fairly frequently, don't they? I used to have a couple of coworkers. A real good friend of mine from my last job. They would literally take days off to go watch the cricket championship. Now those can take multiple days, can't they? I mean, like one game can take, you know, a couple of days to play out. So that's they're interesting. I've never really watched a cricket game. I mean, I know what it is. I just never really got into it. But I used to have some friends that were from India that were big time fans. They would take days off, say, "Oh, the championships," and they would literally not show up during the time their team was in it. Which I remember the last time it was India. That was, I think, yeah. I'm almost. I was sure it was India that they were. Yeah, and I think they won that year too. I don't remember. It was a while back though. Do they have a championship every year, or is it one of those things that takes a couple of years to get to the world championship? Soccer doesn't have world championship every year, do they? Yeah, maybe they do. I feel like it's so big that it takes time to finish a season, but I could be wrong. I don't know. '97 to 2007 for 10 years, huh? You know, I feel like one of the times that I remember it was a big deal at work, it was like 2000, it was late 2000s. I want to say 9, 10, something like that. I just remember a lot of people were really excited, but I don't remember exactly. It was a big deal, I remember it. Now, I'm sure it's been a big deal since then. So Australia, huh? So they got cricket and rugby. Well, these guys are all from India that were fans of the who are taking the days off and stuff. But U.S. Americans, we get pretty into sports, but we don't like. It's rare that you have people that are just like taking days off. It's like I'm a huge Broncos fan, right? So they get, well, for one, I'm a football fan and football plays on the weekends. So it doesn't, and the games don't last multiple days. It's not like baseball where you take, where they could take, well, even those games only, they take a few hours a day and they're usually played at night. So, but I've never been into a sport that takes a really long time, and I don't think we get into them in the same way. I mean, we're crazy big fans of our sports, but I just don't remember anybody getting that, like, week-long parties, But that's probably because we don't have any sports that take multiple days to play, so. At least not that I'm aware of. And I'm pretty sure no matter how good our cricket team was, it would not have been big here in the U.S. Really? Huh. Oracle. Oracle's one of those companies. I am sometimes surprised that they're still around. I'm reading an article. Oracle? They're still there? Was it Gary Allison or something? He's the owner of that. I mean, they're still. It's just like you just don't hear as much about Oracle these days with Microsoft and Facebook and Amazon and who's the other, Google. All those guys, just like they're kind of like the tech top. Oracle used to be huge, but they've kind of fallen off a little bit. They're like kind of lost it with IBM. T20 is 4 hours. Cricket has 3 formats. T20 4 hours. OD is 8 hours. Test cricket is 5 days. Yikes! I don't know what that is, but that sounds terrible. It's like, wake me up. Okay, wake me up at the next inning. I'm going to bed. Jeez, 5 days. Yeah, I think that was the one they were talking about. I don't know why do they call it test cricket? All right, let's see. I got to get this sprint done here. Sprint planning. All right, so we're going to go. Let's go add. Board? No. Oh, I still haven't mastered this thing yet. Show tasks. Oh, why not? 3.7 to 320. Okay, so that's the right one. Add from backlog. There we go. And then we got to go to game plan. Nope, we're doing simulator logic this time. So we want to add this one. Gonna add some simulation. Oh, add to sprint. Gonna add some coach AI stuff, which I don't feel like that's very well laid out, but we'll throw it in there anyway. Don't have any. We're not doing player AI or play execution. Well, the play execution component does exist. The run play. We're gonna have this and this. So we got the run play. And then I forgot what else I said I was going to get done on here on this sprint. This in itself could be a lot because it's already Tuesday tomorrow. I'm a little behind. I did already start these, but they're going to be a little bit of work. I should probably not take on too much more if I want to get it all done. Maybe I got a couple of things I got to do on the playbook. Let's see, playbook microservice. I would like to start loading up my play. That would probably be good. Play editor. What else have I got left on the play editor? I want to add a task before I close this feature. I gotta load the play. Load play. Editing. Then I got to do some. I got to add PBI, defensive. Create some defensive plays. PBI. Create special teams plays. Yeah, we're gonna go here. Type that in there. So we got to add that stuff in. There were some other little items I wanted to look at. It's got loading, saving. With only a week, almost 2 weeks to go. I think I'm going to leave it with these 4 for now. I think these are going to be pretty meaty. DevOps guy. You know, I almost did all of this. In fact, I started it all. In fact, I think I even still have it. Let's see. Yeah, this is my Azure DevOps. I started to do all my Azure DevOps or all of my planning in Azure DevOps, but then I decided to go with ClickUp. And the reason I did that is because ClickUp supposedly ties in with GitHub. I haven't figured it out yet, how they tie together yet, but I thought that would be kind of a nice feature as I get going. I can like finish items and mark them off. I have not figured out the links yet though. But interesting. But you can see I actually put a bunch of stuff into my Azure DevOps planning. Some of the stuff is already done. Like I think I've already finished a lot of that one. And but there's some things here I haven't even fully moved over to my ClickUp yet because I had built all these. And then I go, oh, I'm going to use ClickUp. And then I started putting everything in ClickUp, but I didn't move everything. So I decided to go with ClickUp just because I felt like it was more generic. And since it's, I don't know, I went with it because it was also, well, this is free also, but I just felt like there was more intertying with my current tools. So I decided to try it out. Right now I'm using ClickUp though. My sprints are right here. See, I'm doing my sprints. This is ClickUp. And there are things I don't like about ClickUp. ClickUp's a little bit, what do I want to call it? It's a little fiddly. I think the problem is it's got a lot of features and some of them aren't very intuitive. It's not very, I feel like Azure DevOps might be a little easier to use, but I think as I'm learning the nomenclature for ClickUp, it's becoming easier as I learn more and more and more stuff. It's like figuring out this folder structures thing, how to get my same kind of Azure type setup where you got epics, features, PBIs, tasks. Took me a while to figure out how this was how the best way to lay this out because they do it different here, and so that was a little awkward. And then I have my overall project, which is the football simulator, which is what the original name. I keep changing the name. I keep going. I decided it's FPFM instead of PFFM now. That's the current working title. What it'll be at the end, who knows? But right now it's FPFM, Fantasy Pro Football Manager. And the reason is because I feel like that calls out the fantasy as 10 months? What are you talking about? Just 5 sprints. No. This is only 2 months. This is January to March. In fact, it's exactly 2 months, 5 sprints. It's 2 weeks. My sprints are 2 weeks each. Yeah, I know, Jaja. I know. Spanish laughter. I don't understand. Is that because it sounds like ha? J is an H sound, so it's ha ha ha, but it's spelled with J's because it's Spanish. In English, you pronounce that ja ja ja, and you're like, why is that laughter? You're like, that don't sound like a laugh, ja ja ja. But in Spanish, J sound like H, so it's ha ha ha. But no, this is 5 sprints. I only started doing sprints in January, but I started my work in November on this. And I also started to do, I'm starting to do shorts. I'm going back on some of my old streams. And make fun of my game. I don't know if I want to make fun of my game. I definitely will have fun with my game. But I'm already doing some pretty outlandish stuff with my game, I'm telling you. I mean, people are going to be like, what? Fantasy and football? Dude, are you high? Not fantasy football, but fantasy and football. Like Lord of the Rings meets the NFL. That's what I'm doing. That's going to be like nothing you've ever seen before in your entire life. And it's going to be kind of interesting. I want to see if I can come up with some decently looking fields that just look like, I don't want them to be like the perfect football field. I mean, they're going to be played like it's a perfect football field, but I want them to look a little raggy, outdoorsy, kind of just weird looking fields, you know. Even though the players aren't going to, because what the heck, they're not going to trip. Oh, dude, no, man. Don't start insulting football. You're getting fantasy football, but you're not going to get hand egg. It's soccer. Soccer and football. And the football is they do put their foot on it. The very first thing that football players do with a football is kick it. Granted, they probably only do it about 10 more times in the game, but the very first thing that happens to the ball is their foot meets the ball. Football. Game starts off that way. Every half starts off that way. Every drive that after a score starts off with a foot meeting the ball. So it's still football. It's the instantiation of the game. They just don't feel so inclined as to never touch the ball with their hands, which is just crazy. Some of those soccer players, though, man, they play so well, it's almost like they are using hands. I have seen some pretty impressive things. Okay, I think that's enough. It's not much, but some of these are pretty deep once I start adding what these things involve. I mean, look, I've already started to work on some of these. And just the run game logic, you know, I built all these functions. And the run play, which is the sub piece of that, it's going to run all this stuff. And then these things call over to the coach component. Coach component's going to do like checking the game plan and the situations. So like it goes and checks the situations, finds the one that matches, and decides what plays to get, and then decides on its own kind of play. So yeah, it's going to be getting back a bunch. I don't know. This is just like the what do you call it, base structure. I don't even know if this is fully functioning yet. I mean, I know it's not, but I got to start plugging in things and start having the logic. So I'll probably have to go look at my simulation and start pulling down bits and parts. Does that still fail? Gosh dang it. What the heck, man? Jerk. Why is this failing? Explain error. What is the error? Panic caused by an interface conversion issue in the Docker. Whoa. Which one is it complaining about, though? The interface workflow. The Docker compose command, specifically the error message interface conversion interface is not a string. Suggests there's a mismatch in the Docker compose configuration or environment variable handling. Update the workflow to print environment variables. Before running the Docker compose, print out the environment variables to ensure they are correctly set. You can do that? Update the workflow to print the... Oh, we got to echo them. Can I do that? Update Docker compose command. Ensure the Docker compose command is using the correct profiles and arguments. Check Docker compose file. Verify file for any potential issues. Ensure all environment variables are correctly referenced and there are no type mismatches. Huh. I'll have to look at that. I've been trying to get like my prod environment to run. I keep running into little deployment things, and I don't know why. So that's a side issue. Because I try not to spend all day on it, because it's been taking a long time to work it out. So I'm like, okay, let's keep progressing in the game's development while I try to solve this with various attempts at... I did make a tweak on here, and I'm wondering if I did something goofy. Nope, it's right there. I don't see anything that's typo-y. I'm gonna have to look at that. There's something I did, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. That's my later step, later task. I'm definitely trying to stay on target this week for getting to bed so I can get up early. And I actually got up at a reasonable time for the first time in a week because I've been going to bed so late these last few. Generate ski go. What the heck is that? Generate ski go? I don't even know what that is. Huh. Okay. But these are the two apps I'm working on. Wow, that one's actually not failing. This one's way failing. I do have a number of parts I need to keep getting going here. Let's see. After examining data connection code. Oh, that's not even the right one. Probably because I'm looking at the wrong database. It's this one. There we go. That's why the other one was not broken, because it hadn't got the new stuff in yet. Close all. All right, so the first thing that needs to happen for my simulator to start doing anything is I need to be able to call run game. So run game needs to take in a game state. Actually, it doesn't. I just need to tell. It just needs to have the teams. So get play, coach, get play type, run game. Okay, so we have the run game function. The run game function is going to take the offensive and defensive team IDs, which are probably going to have to be provided by something in the UI. But in some way or another, I'll give the offensive and defensive team IDs. That means I have to have a container with teams. So I got to be able to provide a team. You know what I don't have? Brady Ball Fantasy. What the heck is Brady Ball Fantasy? Like Tom Brady? Oh my gosh, no, anything but that. I would pick Peyton Ball before I'd pick Brady Ball. I could see partnering with a retired NFL legend for my game. I'd have to find someone who's interested in having a hand in it. I'd have to figure out how to, first of all, talk to somebody like that. Like, how do you even reach out to somebody like that? It'd be cool to get like an actual a retired NFL person to be part of it, you know. But the thing is, their face wouldn't be on it, and I wouldn't be using an actual NFL license, right? Because NFL is still stupid. But that would be kind of neat. But I don't think any of them would back my game unless it did some pretty freaking cool stuff, like it was Madden level, because they're not going to put their name on an indie project unless it looks like it's the most amazing, coolest thing they've ever seen. But it would be cool to pull that one off. That'd be a serious coup for success. All right. So we're going to provide IDs. So what I'm going to probably end up having to do is I might have to actually stop for a second and create a way to create teams. I didn't actually... So here's the thing. What makes up an account? An account is going to be your user ID. But I guess I need to have like a... Gosh, I may be detoured a little bit here. Because I'm thinking I need to come up with a way for people to put in, create their team, create a team name, have an ID, have some kind of a team created. What I may even have to do is have a default that occurs with your game. So like there might be a container for teams that attaches to a user ID, and maybe by default everybody just gets a team. Doesn't have a name or anything yet, but it will. Which means when a player is created, what I probably need to do is have like an account. I think I actually have a user account here. A user account that would have all the user account stuff that goes to the user account page, but also I think I need to either have a separate like team front office, something like that. That's what I should probably do. One of my new buildings, I probably need to do a front office component that will allow somebody to put in their team name, and that would be where they manage if they're in more than one league, if I allow more than one league, but it'll at least have the name of the league they're in, the name of their team, what else? Huh. Yeah, I think I'm going to need a front office page. Something for them to put in a team name. But if everybody's given a team by default, I think my user account needs to have, well, it's going to need to have all these files. So let's go to the playbook, and we're going to copy all the type all the way up to handler.go. We're going to stick them all inside of the user account, and we're going to say copy paste. This thing can go away. This is kind of a detour, but I need to have something for my so we don't need a play.go or a playtypes.go or route action types.go. No, we don't need a formations.go. But oops, what we will need is user information. So we're going to need to have, like, have I not created any user page information at all? Does my city have a metro? You mean like a bus? We used to have metro buses. I don't know if that's what you mean, like a bus line. I don't know what you mean. I mean, we still have bus lines. They're just not called metro anymore. It used to be. Now they're called some other weird, it's not even city named. Let's see here. We got user info. Call it account info. User info. I don't know what user ID. I feel like I've done something with it. Oh, maybe I already have some in my auth. I don't want my auth to hold too much stuff, though. Its job is just authentication. Then it should hand it off to the user. But I bet you I have some stuff already here. Yeah, I got user here. So it's going to create the user table. So the user will be in here based on their creating their account. But the account data will have things else. So this user accounts will have, like, how about team info? Team. How about teams? Teams? Teams. Sure, why not? I think you have more than one team, but if now there's some functionality and features I haven't decided what I'm going to allow as far as, like, multiple leagues at once. I don't know, what kind of multiples? Do you have more than one team? Like, if you play, like, Retro Bowl, or heck, if you play Retro Bowl or any of those games, you get one team. If you're in a league, you're in a league. If you have it, your team is in a league, and that's just what it is. But I want to be able to do more than that. So I don't want to be restricting. I don't know. Created app plays. Okay, so we don't need that. But they will have their own game plan. So I'm going to make it so they could potentially have more than one team. So we got the user ID. But the team needs to have a name, right? Duh. Sure. Team name. Do I want to make that required? I can't make it required because it won't exist at the beginning when it's first created. Read only struct. So what else do I need? I need team information. I feel like there's going to be so much more. But I don't, right now, probably not a lot, but I don't need any of this. They're going to have a game plan. But is the game plan associated to the team, in which case every team gets its own game plan? Or is it associated to the user, in which case they would not? There would be one game plan and it just gets applied to your teams. That's a lot of work. I mean, if somebody really wants to build game plans for every single one of their teams, I mean, I guess you could, but that's a lot of work. Coaching lots of teams. Even coaching 2 teams would be a lot. Because, especially if you're changing your game plan for every one of these teams. I think game plans are one of those things you tweak and you just use throughout. You can use different coaches to help adjust those, but you have a team, and every team might be connected to a game plan ID, so it probably should have a game plan, or actually the playbook. They probably have a playbook too. Game plan, ID, and playbook ID. So you're going to need both of those anyway. Game plan ID and playbook ID. I don't think they're necessary. Well, you know what? I don't think game plans probably should have their own playbook, because all the plays and play types are going to pull from the playbook. So I don't think I need to have a separate. Because the playbooks have a user ID built into them already. So probably don't need to have that here. In fact, even the game plan will have a user ID associated to it. So I don't know. Where are you supposed... Oh, I guess... Oh boy. Just structuring this out in my mind. The game plan... All these have a user ID attached to them. The team will have a user ID attached to them. If I want to keep all those things separate... No, I'm going to put game plan ID because you might have a separate game plan. You could have a separate playbook for a team. But that would mean that oh my gosh, do I want to do that? I hope I'm not opening up a can of worms, but I'm gonna leave it like this. This just allows me to assign the team's game plan and playbook, and right now there's only going to be one, but that's what it's going to be. There will be other things on here like your like things on the account. We'll probably have things like what do I want to call them? Your currency? I'll call it game currency. Game currencies. Currencies? Struct. And we're going to have dollars. We'll call them FPFL dollars. No, I don't want to use FPF. All right, FPFL dollars. Sure, I probably shouldn't do it that way, but This is like going into the weeds a little bit. It's not that I don't want to have. Um, I don't want to have a million different currencies. Have you seen a lot of these games where you go in and it's like, oh, you got Marvel Snap, perfect example. You have things like you have cubes and crowns and coins and what else do they have? Cubes, coins, crowns, credits. They just got all kinds of. I got at least 4 currencies, if not more than that. I think it's at least 4, because you got the. Well, then in the alliance you have alliance points. So you get alliance points. You have was it conquest crowns? You have battle credits. You have and then you got rank. You've got, and that can get you stuff too. So you've got your player rank. You've got your collection levels. All these things, you're just getting stuff everywhere. It's both good and bad, but it's just like you're like, oh, what do I need? Oh, and then when you're building your cards need cubes and they need packs. So you got to get the packs to get the cubes. So in order to level cards up, not only do you have to have the cubes, which is the generic upgrade stuff, but you also need the packs that are specific to that card. And so the cards themselves will have their own thing in your card, but they're associated to you. So it's your cards, your credits. But there are so many things that you can earn. And then it's like, what was that? Watcher of Realms is the same way. You got hearts and stamina and money and all these different things that are just scattered all over the thing. And you're like, ah! And I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a way to centralize all that stuff. Every one of these games that has the free-to-plays that have all this stuff, and it's like it's everywhere. There's no centralization of it all. But I kind of get it. I mean, the strategy behind it it is kind of cool to go to different pages and get stuff. You know, oh, look, I still have this to collect. Oh, look, I have that to collect. Oh, I got this to collect. And that's kind of cool. I get it. It's not all buyable either. It's not all, free-to-play doesn't require you to buy all that. Watcher of Realms will let you buy like packs of stuff where you can get a lot of stamina or a lot of hearts or a lot of money or whatever. The primary expenditure thing on Marvel Snap is gold. So you just buy gold. But you can also do these different packs that they have that'll let you get cards or credits or blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, you can also do the monthly thing. I like the idea of a season pass. But I don't know. I'm kind of trying to decide how a season pass would work. The season passes are kind of cool. But for me, I don't like the idea of restricting players to be forced, in order to play. So I think it'd be cool to have like a season pass, maybe to have a second league going, like 2 seasons you'd pay for a season pass. It's like an extra season pass. And you get like 1 season pass at a time where you can just play through it. Or you can you can be in another season and have 2 seasons going. But my problem is like there's the issue of career mode. It's like, what do you do if you're playing in 2 leagues? Are you guys doing different careers, or do you not, or they cannot be in both leagues, or there's that complication, right? And it's like, I don't know if that works. You can build them up on separate career paths, but that's kind of weird. So I'm kind of torn. I don't know. But there will definitely be dollars and points, and I haven't decided what other stuff. Not all of them are buyable, but some of them might be like But I will have that stuff in there because that's how free-to-plays work. But I don't still know how much. I don't know to what extent I'll have that. All right, well, it's 10 o'clock. I've talked my way into minimal. Well, I mean, I got some planning done, got some things on my list. 10 o'clock my time, anyway. Not all of us are just starting their day out. But I'm done, man. For today, I will be back tomorrow. I will be at it again. Hopefully I can make some more progress on getting these done. I got to figure out how to get a default team in unless I want to build up a page, which means I got to have a front office page. I don't know how long that would take. That's definitely something I'd have to put on my page or on my app so people could set their team up. But what I'm actually thinking is I may have my auth when a player is created, send them over to the user account page where I will automatically create a team for them. So they'll get a team, which will also maybe instantiate a playbook for them and a game plan ID for them. Get a game plan and a playbook all associated to that player. And then this will be kind of where they're connected to everything. And I'll have that handled by the user account. So AMG auth calls user account, which calls the team, and it'll just be called team blotty blotty team user ID 123 or whatever it is, just something generic. And then they can change it once I give that ability. But at least I will have I'll have to create two teams so that I can have two teams pair up, and I got to figure out what I'll probably have to do is create a page that separates the simulator from the field. So you click the field, it'll say simulate game, and then it'll be kind of like the home page, and then you click that, and that takes you to the simulator which runs a game. This way I have a way to have kind of a control panel. What are you doing? You're playing a league game, you're playing a team one-on-one game, anything. It's just going to be the what are we doing right now page. And I think that's going to be a break in between the simulator page and because I guess it just seems like a best place to do it. And yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. See, that's already, as it's starting to take shape, it also means more and more things have to pop up. And I'm thinking I'm going to have a simulation control page or dashboard, a simulation dashboard, and a user account, a creation step that goes from the AMG auth to user account. But we're getting there, one thing at a time.